Thanks, Reed. A lot going on as two Iowa sports close out their seasons.
Yes, and Alyssa Bergamini is standing by with everything you need to know about Hawkeye sports. Alyssa?
Thanks, Hannah. Alyssa Bergamini standing by in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. We have a wide range of Hawkeye sports on tap tonight. A review of the conclusion of the men's basketball season later, but we start this Monday back out on the mound where Heller and squad are just getting started. Over the weekend, Iowa baseball opened their Big Ten play with a series win over Nebraska with a come-from-behind victory. On Sunday, the Hawks put up 4 runs in the 8th inning, claiming an 8-4 victory over the Huskers. Taking 2 of 3 games gave Iowa their first conference victory since 1998. Hawks will return for some non-conference action this Wednesday, where they will host Bradley. Onto the gridiron, Iowa football holding their pro day today with the Hawkeyes NFL draft hopefuls performing in front of NFL scouts. Not a lot of competition between other colleges, only Maine and North Carolina State also on today's schedule. Unofficial times coming in throughout the day, but be sure to check out the full Daily Iowan TV's recap on dailyiowan.com later in the week. Switching gears, the Iowa basketball team may not have ended their postseason ideally. Our own Aaron Faust takes us through all the ups and the downs that unfolded in the 2013-2014 season.
Starting off with a strong beginning, the Hawkeyes seemed to be unstoppable. Going into the Hawkeyes' first tournament battle for Atlantis, their season was at 6-0. The Hawks won the first 2 games of the tournament and were up the first half of their last game against Villanova and then lost in overtime 73-77. Entering the conference season, Hawks beat Huskers 67-57. Next, they had to Madison, Wisconsin against the Badgers, where they repeated their trend of leading into the half and falling back down in the second, 75-71. Jumping ahead against Michigan State, the trend once again continues in the first half. They tie it up to go into overtime and fall by 3 to the Spartans. Arguably the Hawks' best game of the season, where you can really see the full potential of the team, the Hawkeyes pull an amazing win against the Wolverines 85-67. Ending the conference season with an upsetting streak of losses, 5 out of 6 games, Coach Fran McCaffrey and team head to the Big Ten tournament with hopes to flip the season around for the win. Iowa played Northwestern first round of the Big Ten tournament and lost 67-65. Hawkeyes then headed to the NCAA tournament where they played Tennessee for a place within the 64 teams. Hawkeyes played an amazing first half where they were in the lead and fell to a loss in overtime with a resulting score of 65-78. It is too quick to call it a defeated season since it was the first time the Iowa Hawkeyes made it to the NCAA tournament since 2006. Aaron Faust, Daily Iowan, TV Sports.
I'm now joined by our very own wrestling beat reporter, Cody Goodwin, who spent the last weekend down in Oklahoma City covering the NCAA championships. Probably the biggest success story of the weekend, with Tony Ramos winning at 133 pounds. That had to be amazing for him, and what was his reaction like when he won?
I'll tell you what, Alyssa, his reaction, he darted right off the stage and went to go hang out with his family. He jumped right into the arms of his older brother, Frankie, who actually gave him a hat that said NCAA champion right across the front. It was actually a really cool sight to see. You can see him up there. There's a picture of him celebrating with Frankie up there. It was definitely a heartfelt moment, something that, this has been something that Tony has not been able to do. That's win an NCAA title. As a sophomore, he took third, and last year he took second, losing just by 3 points. This time he's able to get the job done in overtime nonetheless.
On the other side, reigning NCAA championship, Derek St. John, probably the biggest disappointment for the weekend. What happened here?
Well, Derek St. John has always wrestled really close matches, really hard-nosed kind of guy who can eke out, a quick 6-4 or 3-1 victory. But when it came to this NCAA championships, he just didn't have the weekend that everybody thought he was going to have. And everybody thought he was going to have the weekend he had last year, where he did end up winning. He ended up on the winning side of all those close matches, ending with an NCAA title. This year, guys were able to figure him out. He gave up too many takedowns in the couple of matches that he did lose. He did end up 5th. That is respectable. And he's just the 18th Hawkeye to finish as a 4-time All-American. That's a very impressive feat in itself, Alyssa.
And Iowa placed 4th in standings. How did that measure up to expectations?
Well, obviously, Alyssa, their expectations was to win a national championship, and they weren't able to get it done. And it was really a collective team effort. Obviously, Ramos came down with the national title. A couple of guys wrestled above their seeds, Corey Clark at 125 pounds, for example. But there were a lot of guys that just weren't able to win the matches they probably should have won, earned the placements that they probably should have had. They had 2 wrestlers that were seeded 5th that got bounced from the tournament altogether. So it really was a collective team effort that Iowa just didn't have the best weekend.
Well, great job by all, and as always, thank you, Cody. That's all we have for tonight's show. Be sure to tune into tomorrow's program where we'll continue our wrestling coverage with a look at the champion himself, Tony Ramos. Mary and Hannah, back to the desk.